Hello and good evening. Hope you're all well and enjoying this not so sunny weather that we had the last couple of weeks. So we're now going to talk about the transfer talk. As you know, there's a lot of movement going on. So let's start off with some ongoing buys at the moment. So the first one obviously is Arsenal signing Kai Havertz for a reputed £65 million. As you can see, he's left Chelsea after 3 years. And he becomes Arsenal's first signing on a long-term contract believed to be around 5 years. Arteta sees him more as a midfielder than he does a striker, which I don't know what Arsenal fans think at this point, because at the end of the day, he didn't exactly kind of hit too many at Chelsea. Maybe in midfield, he'll offer you a bit more than what he did there. The biggest speculation apparently is his wages. If it's reported to be around £17 million a year, not bad going for someone that didn't exactly score many goals, and apparently earning around about £330,000 a week. So I don't know what you Arsenal fans think of that, considering you've just tied down Saka on a fee roughly around about £300,000 a week. Havertz turns out to be your biggest wage player so far. So is he worth that money? Time will tell. So let's see what goes on from there. Well, obviously, as we know, it's an ongoing saga. You've got more drama than you have with EastEnders, Coronation Street alike. Declan Rice, Arsenal and West Ham are still talking about this payment plan, how it's going to go through. David Sullivan is obviously standing firm on what he does. And I make him right on that at the end of the day. We've invested a lot of money into Rice in getting him to where he is. So when you look at that fee of £105 million, I know there's a lot of people saying that he's not exactly worth that. But in our eyes, as Hammers fans, most definitely, he definitely is worth that kind of fee. Arsenal are obviously trying to play hardball with them. They don't exactly lay out that much money all at once. I'll give David Sullivan his due. But apparently it's kind of getting there. So it seems there possibly will be an announcement this week that he's obviously going to be an Arsenal fan, an Arsenal player. He's posted, I think, on his Insta account, showing him on a jet airplane with he's ready. It can't be that far off. So we should see. Obviously, from West Ham's point of view, we've just kind of confirmed the appointment of Bayer Leverkusen chief Tim Stettine. So hopefully you start getting us some good players in, and hopefully with that money we're going to get, we don't waste it like we have over the last couple of seasons. So we've got to watch this space. Man United, obviously Mason Mount, he's virtually kind of a Man United player. He's just kind of having his medical today. And obviously when the first offer was rejected, it seemed like Man United was going to walk away, but obviously they still stayed where they were. The bid was apparently still on the table. And of course, now it's roughly around about £60 million for the England international, and 55 million of that, with 5 million for add-ons, depending on how many games he plays. Apparently signed on a 5-year deal with an option for an extra year, which I think obviously this stage, he wasn't getting much of a look in at Chelsea in that. Potter didn't fancy him. Maybe with Ten Hag, he sees something completely different. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from there. Tell me what you think, Man United fans. Do you feel like he's going to be the addition that you need to kind of change your squad around? Obviously it needs another major rebuilding, just like most teams, if they're going to compete with the Premier and obviously Champions League football this year. So that should be an interesting one from there. James Maddison is obviously gone. It seems like he was obviously going to be Newcastle bound at one point. It seemed like talks were very ongoing, with a deal nearly in place. But no, it seems like Spurs have got their man, and they've paid £40 million. And again, it's a big contract, a 5-year deal. Is that Spurs kind of trying to, take their payments and log it out over 5 years? It seems a lot. Really, for a player of his age, 40 million these days should be a one-off payment in my eyes. But that's me talking about that. Big up LFC TV. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming on. Good. Yep. How you doing? So let's see in there. So it's obviously Postelugo's third signing as he looks to rebuild the squad that he's inherited. I mean, as we know, with most teams, we know there's a major restructuring, but when you look at Spurs, I mean, basically it's a veteran side, so it definitely needs a major overhaul. So he's got a bit of a big task to carry on with that. So obviously, the interesting one over the weekend, we saw Liverpool sign Dominik Szoboszlai for £60 million, not £60 as I put on there. The bargain viewers at that price. From RP Leipzig, the 22-year-old signs on a 5-year deal after passing his medical over the weekend. He's a versatile midfielder, so he can obviously offer more than Mason Mount, which I think Liverpool did look at. So yeah, I mean, he can obviously play in the centre, he can play out wide on the wing, and obviously going to be an attacking midfielder as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good sign for Jurgen Klopp and obviously for Liverpool as they look to rebuild that squad of ease. All good, you. My pleasure, LFC TV. Yeah, all good, mate. I'm glad you came on that. It was a pleasure talking to you the other day. It was an interesting chat. It was interesting, especially with some of the comments, that's for sure. So obviously today it's announced that Newcastle have finally got their man, Sandro Tonali from AC Milan for £55 million. The 22-year-old midfielder signs a 5-year contract again. Of course, he's basically Newcastle's first signing. He's just finished playing in the under-21s European Championship and is touted one of the best midfielders around. He's the second highest fee paid for an Italian. And he's a versatile player, so we expect to see a lot of him this season. So yeah, I think that's going to be a good sign for Newcastle. I think it's one of many that they're going to be getting. Yeah, I'd definitely say so. He's going to be a brilliant sign for you guys. I think when you look at it, attacking wise, he's going to give you something a bit more option than that. And he seems like a strong little player, so I think that's going to be a good addition. So hopefully you're going to be seeing a lot more coming from Liverpool. I think they definitely need it. I think you can agree that last season it wasn't exactly your finest, but hopefully if they're going to give Klopp the backing, give him the money, I think you're going to see this as one of many that's going to help rebuild your squad and that. And obviously one thing I think we all need to see is you guys competing up with the top four again. Sadly missed last year. So obviously West Ham, great. We've got our first signing, and it's a 17-year-old Sean Moore from NIFL Premier side Cliftonville. Apparently he's quite highly rated. We've managed to sign a 17-year-old on a 3-year deal, and the first thing he's going to be doing is going to link up with our under-21 squad for the season. As you can see, we've splashed the cash, £125,000. Obviously, he's going to follow in the footsteps of another hot prospect that we have, Callum Marshall, and several other youth team players. And we see him as a future star for West Ham and that. So we'll see. I mean, he's ready to go. He seems a keen little player. So yeah, I mean, watch this space. I mean, it's another Irish player that we've kind of seen to snap up. It's another brilliant signing, and at 55 million. Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, that's kind of a bit of a bargain in certain respects. I think a lot of the European clubs were quite surprised that Newcastle managed to seal the deal, especially when you think up north he's not exactly blessed with hot weather. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on there. But I think if you look at it, he's going to be adored up there. He's definitely going to be one for them. LFFC TV again. Yeah, last year was a poor season and no legs in the middle for Liverpool. Yeah, of course, when you look at it, Milner, for his age, you can't fault him, and when he definitely showed things. But Henderson's not getting any younger. I think if you look at it, what happens with him? Is he going to be staying around? I think he's probably got another season in him. I don't know what you think of that. So that should be an interesting one to see what's going to happen there. And obviously Brentford, they're starting to look into the market, and they're looking to sign Nathan Collins from Wolves, for an initial fee of roughly £23 million. Again, it's going to break the record for a fee set for an Irish player, but talks are still ongoing as always. As it seems to be the case over the last couple of weeks. Performance-related clauses, it seems to be the in thing at the moment with clubs. Apparently, it's the Bees' third attempt at getting hold of him, but I think it shouldn't hold anything back. Wolves were looking around about 25 million for the centre back, but I think it'd probably be a done deal. So we'll see. another season for Endo, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think he can still give you something. I mean, if you look at it, it's the experience more than anything else. Maybe you're saying, it's what it's needed. I think if you look at it, going back with some other clubs, and obviously the clear obvious one last season was Arsenal. They're quite a young side, and it showed. 2 years on the trot, getting so high, but yet, as always, we know what the end result was, and that. So yeah, that should be quite interesting. And another one that Arsenal's looking to seal up is Julian Timber. For £45 million. The Ajax and the Netherlands defender turned down a move to apparently join Man United last season. In principle, he agreed a 5-year deal with Arsenal after they've tried for the third attempt to get hold of him. So again, it's another 40 million plus £5 million add-ons, and talks are still ongoing. Apparently, former Holland striker Van Basten has warned Timber not to become a reserve player at the Gunners due to the player's age. I mean, obviously, we know with Arteta he has a kind of tendency of resting certain players, especially when you think the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe. Even at one point, you had Martinelli doing it. Obviously, we've got the likes of what's going to happen with Balogun. There's talks of him looking to be sold on for roughly about 50 million. I don't know. That'd be. I mean, we had touted West Ham thinking about him as an offer, as a sweetener with the Rice deal, but I don't know. 50 million is a fair old chunk to pay out for one player that's not exactly been doing it in the Premier League. So we'll watch this space as well. So it's been going on for a while now, but again, City are now pushing for Josko Gardeval. It seems that talks were advanced at this stage, but again, there's no formal bid. I mean, a similar kind of deal we had with Rice. They came in, said they was interested. Everyone thought, okay, it's going to be a done deal, but there's no bid put in. So apparently, according to Max Eberl, the sporting director for Leipzig, talks are ongoing, but it seems to be going in the right direction. So it'll be interesting to see what fee they will want for this player. He's looked by a number of clubs. He's a 20-year-old left-footed centre-back, and City probably see him as a key addition to the side, as apparently he demonstrates a mature approach and he's rated as one of the best by top clubs. So I think in the next couple of days we're probably going to see City putting something in concrete and buying this player. But obviously, this player, what's going to happen with Harvey Barnes? He's a young attacking midfielder or forward, depending what you want to class him as. And he may be wanted by several clubs. Obviously, West Ham are apparently in advanced talks to sign him. As we look to add something towards our forward line, as you know, Skamaka could be on his way to Roma. And there's obviously Antonio is not getting any younger. And that's one thing we are lacking. I mean, I don't think we're going to expect Sean Moore to actually do anything from that point anyway. So we'll see from there. Hi, Warren's team talk. Hi, Warren, how are you doing? I hope you're well. I am, mate. I hope you are as well. Thanks for joining on board. Guys, while you're on, don't forget, if you can, for these two, let's make sure that, you subscribe to Warren's team talk, and obviously LFFC TV. Be much appreciated. You can hit, subscribe to these two guys. Both do great work on the channels, what they do. How are you doing? Yeah, as always, mate, I'm doing very well. I hope you are as well. And no, I haven't heard from Terry yet, even though we have sent him Declan Rice pyjamas with West Ham colours. Unfortunately, he hasn't taken that up for some reason. So we'll see. So, sorry, going back on to Harvey Barnes. Who will get him? I think it's one of those. I mean, apparently, you said talks are supposed to be ongoing with us. We definitely want him. He'd be a great addition for us. He gives a strong attacking forward lineup that we need, especially when you look the likes of Bowen, and obviously if Ben Rama is still there, we can obviously thread balls for him. But apparently Spurs are now looking to kind of link up with him as well. They're sniffing around and trying to scupper the deal. So we'll see. Could see. I mean, West Ham could offer Leicester 40 million, as obviously we've got the money we're going to get from Rice. Let's hope we do it. Let's get the player. I think we need to do something like that. We need to rebuild. With Rice going, it's going to leave a big hole in the middle of the park. I think we're probably going to need 2 or 3 players just to replace one. So we'll see what happens from there. But yes, it's going to be all speculative at this stage. Wants team talk. Has Terry called out from his work yet? No, you know him, mate. Until Rice signs that bit of paper, and that he won't call out at all yet. He's still hiding underneath there, waiting for it to happen. I think he's happy that obviously he's going to be getting the player. He's already kind of posted in our family group chat, Rice baby and all that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. What about this one? What do you guys think of this? Mbappe. Arsenal's considering going for Kylian Mbappe, just because obviously the PSG saga that's going on there, sour grapes between the player and the club. Apparently, Arsenal Chiefs are hoping to get his signature. They've got it in the meltdown as the laughter and clickbait merchants talking about, are we really going to go for this player? Are you serious? I mean, blimey, if you imagine if it does happen, then yeah, it's going to be the biggest deal in Arsenal's history. I don't know. It's one of those. What do you think? Do you think it's really possible that Arsenal can afford that? I mean, by all accounts, he's asking for silly figures for a wage anyway. I think he wants something like in the region of £250,000 a week. I don't think it's available. Even for Arsenal's clout with what they're buying so far, I think it's just a bit too much money. But I can't see it happening. He's going to end up in the Italian league, probably with Real Madrid, if anything. So yeah, it's going to be one of those. So apparently, Chelsea are also in advanced talks to get Caicedo. We know he's wanted by quite a few clubs at this stage. Obviously, you look at they're talking about £75 million. Brighton's looking for for the player. Is he worth it? Yeah, he possibly is. He's a great addition to any team that's going to come in there and that. Obviously, Arsenal wanted him. I think Man United's after him. But it seems Chelsea is the preferred choice, so that should be interesting. Good evening, Stapes 22. How you doing? Mbappe, we could only do that next season on a free. Yes, true. That's true in that. If you look at it, Chelsea are doing that at the moment. They're signing up some youngsters on frees. But, I think obviously this one they're going to lay out roughly 75, probably 80 million for Caicedo. Because obviously they've got to recoup back some of that money they've been spending so far. But yeah, actually, it's one of those. Warren's team talk. I think there's more chance of Thierry admitting that Unai Emery is a better manager than Arteta. That would never happen. If the day that happens, Warren, you can eat his hat with salt and pepper and vinegar, because I guarantee you that's not going to happen. Terry would never admit that in a month of Sundays. So yeah, no, Stapes, thanks for coming on. It was good talking to you early on the old school gunner. So if you can, guys, don't forget these two as well. Let's make sure we give them a special like as well on their channels, please. Stapes 22. Arteta's only behind Pep in this league. Yeah, I think, at the moment he's kind of proved himself last season, definitely. It was a turn up for the books. I don't think anyone expected Arsenal to have the season what they did. Considering the last couple of seasons previous, but give credit to Arteta where it's due. He's actually got the players playing. And I think if you look at it, it surprised a lot of players. It surprised me, I must admit. Considering how you were, I think the only thing that kind of let you down is the fact of the strength of your team. It's too weak in my eyes. I think, now you've got Champions League football. Are you really going to be able to compete? That's the thing. If you don't buy the players to be, to strengthen your squad, then what chance are you going to have? If you get last 16, great. I think, you've done well to do that. But I think at the same point, if you don't buy any further players, then it's going to be a bit of a, let's hope that it doesn't happen again for you guys. I think, considering if you're laying out, between two players so far, 175 million, you might as well say. And if you look at the fact of if you're going to get in Timber, and I think there's someone else you're talking about getting in as well. You're going over easily the £300 million mark, but you've got to get that money back. But it's something you need to do to strengthen your squad, because you are pretty light at the moment. Who'd you like to replace Deck, mate? Yeah, it's a big question, isn't it? Obviously, in the middle of the park, I wouldn't mind, Ward-Prowse. Yeah, he'll do a job. I mean, it's not going to be the answer. I think we need someone a bit more stronger than that. So yeah, who else do we go for? I don't know. There's quite a few choices at the moment, but I think if you look at it, what West Ham have got to do, they've got to buy right, because, well, you've seen it as well. You've bought several players over the last couple of seasons for big money, and they've not done it. I mean, obviously, if you look at it, but dare I say it, Party could come to us. If you look at it, I mean, for his age, we'll gladly take that. He'll do us a job there, but I think we need something a bit more younger, a bit more flair. Basically, I'm not saying that he's not, but we need something that's really going to hit the ground running and fit in with the team. Or put it this way, fit in with Moyes' style of play, because that's the biggest problem that we have. As we've found out with the forwards, we've lost that because of that. So yeah, so with this Stein, we've just signed the sporting director. Apparently, he's no messer. He when he goes for something, he definitely goes for something. So I think with the money coming in, we'll buy right with him. And by all accounts, if rumours to be told, I think he said earlier on, if he's got some managers lined up for Moyes, because I don't think Moyes is going to be here long term. I think if you look at it, the rumour was he was supposed to have gone at the end of the season. And I think this is where some of the players decided to stay on at West Ham, because he said he was going. But now that obviously winning the Europa Conference, he's hanging around. That's why I think at the moment it's not exactly settled at West Ham. So expect to see some players probably slapping in transfer requests, so watch this space. So it could be one of those. I mean, there's obviously rumours of Bowen possibly wanting to go, Antonio moving on, which I think if you look at it for his age, we need to. It's going to be an interesting one. I think we need to kind of definitely do better in what we buy, especially, to fill Rice's spot. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard task to do. And I think if you look at it, it's got to be right, because at the end of the day, if we don't get it right, West Ham fans will revolt on Moyes and obviously the board. Well, on team talk, you could get Matteo Guendouzi, quality midfielder, treated like dirt by Marteta. I make you right. At the end of the day, in that he'll definitely fit the bill. He's got bags of energy in my eyes, and yeah, I think he was unfairly treated. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, in that other players in the Arsenal squad have got away with worse, and they're still there. Guendouzi got not a bad shout. One, I think that's not a bad shout at all. Slate 22. Would you replace Moyes with Potter? If not, who? No, I think Potter probably be a good choice for us. It's in certain respects, it's his caliber or his level, shall I say? I think he'd do well in that respect with what we are on that. And look what he did with Brighton. He did very well there. So West Ham, I think, would fit the bill kind of thing, and not being funny at the same point. I didn't mind old Sean Dyche. I think he was one of a bad manager really as well, because at the end of the day, in that you knew what you got. He definitely kind of stuck in there. So Everton's got a good manager in that respect, as this man knows. Good evening, James Dunlop. I'm well, mate. I hope you are as well. Thanks for joining in. We were just talking about obviously Moyes, and is he going to stay on at West Ham? I think it's going to be a short-term thing. I think he's going to be moved on. 5 to 10 games, if that. If it doesn't kind of work out, especially with the fixture we've got coming up, I don't think he's going to be in the job for long. And I think we need a little bit of a change just to shake the team up more than anything else. We need to be more attacking. In my eyes, we was too defensive at certain points, and we didn't kind of push forward where we should have done in certain games. So yeah, it'd be interesting. So looking at Arsenal fans, who else do you think you need to come into? I mean, do you feel like you need another keeper to help support Ramsdale? At the end of the day, in that, for me, Ramsdale saved you in a lot of games, but he's not invincible. He does, as it showed near the end. Obviously, I know there's a lot of criticism on Ramsdale, but not being funny, you've just got to look at one player that was missing from your back four, and that was Saliba. And when he came out the way, yeah, I think any keeper is kind of nervous if their back four in front of them is not kind of gelling well. And it definitely showed. When you look at it, Holding did a job. But yeah, we know he's obviously got a mistake in that. And even Gabriel, I mean, at the end of the day, in that, as solid as he is, he needs someone to back him. He needs someone to partner up with him and to get the best out of him. Because when Saliba was playing, most of the times Gabriel plays the ball back to Saliba. Saliba clears the ball. You reset. It was good to watch sometimes. It was good football, entertaining football. But once Saliba was injured, that's when you can say that was a downhill slide for Arsenal. But yeah, I think you need to get someone else in. Hopefully Timber will be that for you, just to kind of strengthen the area up, and obviously to deal with the likes of getting Ben White to play better. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Tommy Esu. Is there any news on that? Is he still staying with you guys? Is he going to be moving on? It should be interesting. Let me know what you think about that as well. James Dunlop. Mount to Man United, an interesting move. I think it will suit Ten Hag's style of play. Yeah, I agree, James. I think if you look at it, I think the move suits both parties. Mount as well as Man United. Mount gets the opportunity to actually kind of get probably regular football. He can actually play the ball out better. We know he can score goals. And for Ten Hag, he's looking to get that more attacking element. Basically, apologies about that. I should have actually put that on silent. So when you look at something like that, it's going to be a good mix. The pair of them, I think it'll work out pretty well. I mean, obviously, see the other day, obviously Man United are trying to replace De Gea as the keeper, but at the moment, because obviously nothing's happening with Onana, they're looking elsewhere. So they may kind of ditch that move altogether. So that'd be interesting to see. What about you, James? You got any movement going on there, Everton? I don't see. There's not much going on. I mean, do you think you're going to be losing many players? Obviously, we're looking at getting Harvey Barnes from Leicester and that. But what about yourselves? Do you think there's anything else you're going to be losing? Well, it's team talk. I think we need 2 top drawer centre backs, 2 centre midders, and a prolific striker. Definitely, you like us, Warren. We need a prolific striker as well, kind of thing. We can't rely on Antonio, and you obviously can't rely on Jesus. He's not the answer for you. And obviously Nketiah, I mean, bit part striker that comes on, maybe scores you a goal here and there if you're lucky. But yeah, for what you've signed him on for and the money you're paying Nketiah and that, you need someone a bit better than that, basically. So that should be very interesting to see. 2 centre mids. So, you 2 centre mids, one. What do you think you need to kind of? What kind of areas there? Because you've got Rice in now. Is he going to partner up with Odegaard, or does he part? Well, is Xhaka going? That's the question. Because at the end of the day, and that, for me, he seems like a boomerang player. He always seems to come back every time you think you're getting rid of him. He's there. He's still there. And Arteta is not exactly saying much on the move. He seems like he's quite happy if he stays. I don't know what you guys feel on that. So, there's not enough money in the bank after all the troubles we've had. We need a few players out. The big one for me is Amadou Onana. Good player, but we can't afford to turn down a big offer. Yeah, agree on that, James. I mean, obviously, as you know, we tried to sign him before he decided to go with you guys. But possibly now with the Rice money, we could. I think there's talks we possibly may even consider going for him. So that would be a good move if we, with that. Can you see me now? I'm trying to kind of work on a different way. Can anyone see me? Can you see me now? Oh, great. Thanks. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I had to kind of move over. So, pardon for the background and behind you can see there. So let's go back into the chat there. So, Tony, would you take Balogun for 35 million? All upfront payment, though. Yeah, I think Stapes is I think going to be a bad fit for us kind of thing. I think it'd be worthwhile getting hold of Balogun. 35 million, yeah. I mean, I'll take that rather than the 50 million. Apparently, they've got spouted for him, so that wouldn't be bad at all. Taking that kind of deal. About from off to Saudi Arabia looks like, yeah. I mean, if you look at that, James, it's another one going there. When you look at the fact that Gerrard has apparently now just signed for Al Ittihad, or I mean, I know there's so many names that go through it these days. It's hard to realise. All these Saudi names seem very, very familiar. So yeah, I mean, but there's big money being spouted there. That's the thing. I mean, like I said earlier on, going back on, look at Arsenal with Kai Havertz. Apparently, he's your biggest player that you're spending money on. £331,000 a week. Seems a hell of a lot of money for one player. Is he worth that? £17 million a year. I don't know. It's I don't know, Arsenal fans. It's a bit of a hard one to swallow in that respect. I don't know what you guys think about that. So we shall see. Yeah, James Dunlop. So no shock that Roy Hodgson is staying at Palace as well. Clearly, Palace got to find a long top. Maybe it's the cheaper option there, James. When you think about it, at the end of the day, he's obviously now collecting his pension as well as a wage, so that can't be a bad thing. And to be fair, when you think about it, they brought him back at the end of the season, and he kept him up. So he's obviously doing something right. But yeah, I agree with him on that. If they can't find a long-term option, so what's Palace's intention? I mean, apparently Zaha, didn't he become a free agent over the weekend or something like that? So yeah, he's available. I think even again some of the Saudi clubs are looking to do that, so that'd be interesting. He isn't on that wage. He's rubbish. It's £65 million worth of rubbish, though, isn't it? When you look at it, it's a lot of money to lay out for him. I mean, obviously Arteta must see something that we obviously don't. He didn't do it for Chelsea. Again, but there seem to be tying players down on big wages. A lot of clubs are doing it these days, So yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens there. Interested to see what Arteta does with him, though. Well, according to it, they're saying, Stapes, he reckons that he's going to play him more in midfield than as an attacker. So what did he seem to part him up with? He's going to put him there. Then is he what? Attacking defender, midfielder? So where does that leave the likes of Odegaard? And, if Partey's staying, for instance, obviously, like you just mentioned, Xhaka on his way out, for, was it £21.5 million? So when you look at yeah. Oh, sorry, no, it's Arsenal Forever. Big up Arsenal Forever. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming on. I mean, if they're taking £21.5 million, yeah, good money. Take that. But as we always know, that bloke seems to come back many times in that. Yeah, big up yourself, Arsenal Forever. Good to see you on here. Hope you're doing well. James Dunlop. Zaha's agreed offers from Lazio, Fenerbahce, and a club from Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I've heard exactly the same thing. So it'd be interesting what tempts him. I think out of the three of them, Saudi's going to offer the most money. It seems to be the done thing at the moment. Everyone's going there. Well, if you look at it, virtually a quarter of Chelsea's teams already kind of made their way over that side. So that should be very interesting. Arsenal Forever. Kai Havertz surely can't be earning 330,000 a week. I've heard it's 200. Well, I don't know. it's supposed to be some kind of unrest in the camp, because I think it's come out that he is supposed to be the highest earning player in Arsenal's squad. So if they are kind of giving him that money, yeah, I don't know. It's something's not right there. That's a hell of a lot of money for one player, especially someone that's not exactly kind of banging in the goals. So we shall see in that. Yeah, that's going to be stage 22. Even 20k is too much. Yeah, for a player like that, you know, you wouldn't mind he was prolific in front of goal, but we've seen for Chelsea, he just wasn't doing it. So 220, even that is too much. I mean, even if you look at 120, would he be actually worth that as well? So that's it's an interesting one. Yeah, we'll see on that. Well, it's team talk. £50 is too much for my opinion. Yeah, I'll make it right there, Warren. Well, if you look at it that rate kind of thing, you probably expect change back in the pocket with that one. You've got a chance of, if you look at it, Shergar winning the national again, you know, then spending £50 on him. So that should be interesting in that respects. But no, I mean, when you look at it, there's some interesting business. I mean, say Tonali to Newcastle, that's a good deal. Young, you know, he's going to offer him a lot more. I just think he's going to find the time a bit kind of cold for his liking from where he's been. So we'll see. We shall see. James Havertz is a good player, but it's where you play him in. That Arsenal side is the problem. Give Arteta something to think about. It does, mate. I mean, you know, is he kind of seeing him, or maybe he's seeing someone else in the midfield area as just kind of like a rotation player? Is he seeing Havertz more as a first teamer? Is he going to get regular starts? I mean, obviously we know the likes of Saka and Martinelli, they need a little bit of a rest. But where does he play? Does he play out on the wing with him? Is he going to push, you know, Odegaard out there, keep him in the centre with, Havertz with Rice? Yeah, it's going to be an interesting combination to see what's going to happen in the next when the season starts, who starts where, etc. I have to say, I was jealous when Chelsea first signed him. Well, yeah, he had a big reputation, didn't he? At that point, he seemed to be like a worthwhile signer at that stage. But you know, as we know, sometimes you go to a club and it just doesn't work. So we shall see. Arsenal forever. Tony, did you hear that Beyonce used Tottenham empty trophy cabinet for a changing room, as it's the biggest empty space in the stadium? Well, I hope she wore a dust mask and that. She probably would have suffocated with the amount of dust in that room. It should be interesting. You know, that's, yeah, I've heard that one as well. At Streamlabs, please refrain from sending messages asking people to refrain from sending. Yeah, Warren, I've got to have a look at. I think I've got to kind of go into the back room and basically kind of disable that function, because it's even that's getting on my nerves a little bit. You know, what's happened with freedom of speech? We're allowed to get that, aren't we? You know, we should have that at least. And State's obviously agreeing with you. That's, you know, absolutely. No, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, going by what James Dunlop said here and that. You know, what do you Arsenal fans think? You know, do you see him as a regular, as a first starter, or do you see him as a bit part player? Is he going to be there for Champions League experience? Is he going to come on for those kind of type of games? Or is he going to get regular football, you know, starting with the Premier as well as Cup games? That should be interesting to see. James Dunlop again. Our trophy cabinet has been dusty for nearly 30 years. Well, maybe you're going to chuck it in for that new stadium you're going to get as well, James, in there. So maybe you might get a more up-to-date trophy cabinet, glass and metal. You never know. Don't attract as well. You can see the dust more clearly that way. You know, you're with. Oh, sorry, tell a lie. We've actually managed to dust off our dust. We've actually got a cup on there for a change. Been a long time coming, but yeah, you know, we've finally got something there at least to brag about. So yeah, I mean, what do you think about all these clubs trying to buy players and then buy them on the never never? As I always joke with some of the channels I've been on, it's like, you know, you're playing Klarna payments, buy now, pay later. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, £105 million is a lot of money, but considering the amount that Arteta apparently has been given, was it £250 million worth of money transfer kitty? Surely with that you can free up some of that to put a down payment a big down payment, and that would definitely got the player over the line a lot more earlier than where we are now. I mean, obviously, the main thing is talks apparently are ongoing, and they are progressing quite smoothly by all accounts, but you never know. If it fell through, how would you feel then? I mean, I know Hammers fans, we just want the business done now. He's shown his intention. I mean, we love the kid. He loves the clubs. He's loved the fans, but it's time to move on. And he's wanted that. He's got his wish now. So let's get the business done. But if it fell through, I don't know how you Arsenal fans are going to feel about that. Are you going to turn on the board, Edu, Arteta? It should be interesting to see what happens on that point. State 22, honestly, I think he might be back at Martin Odegaard. Vieira isn't great. Well, yeah, I mean, you paid big money for him as well. I think, was it 32 million, 34 million, something like that? And again, he's not exactly made an impact. So he's one of those that could be, again, a fringe player for you guys, like he was virtually last season. James Dunn, what is this about Bob Blatchford being banned from Everton? Yeah, that's. I think we'll leave James to deal with that one. Arsenal Forever, Tony, what's happening with the rice? Yeah, just spoke about that. Arsenal Forever. When you think about it, I think it just comes. I mean, obviously David Sullivan, he wants the right money at the end of the day, and I can't blame him for it. I mean, we as a club over the years have been stitched up many a times, and that's by our own owners. Funny enough, when you look at it, Michael Carrick, we sold him, I think, was to Spurs for 18 million. He moved on to Man United. And we had no sell-on clause. We made nothing out of those. And he's not the first player that we've done that to. There's several players where we've sold. And don't forget, as much as it's going to grate certain people in that, West Ham have produced England players, when you look at over the years. Glenn Johnson, Frank Lampard, and as we know, Rio Ferdinand, etc., Anton. We've produced England players, and we should have got good money from it, even like with Michael Carrick. But unfortunately, our hindsight was quite poor back in the day, and we've lost out. So I'll give David Sullivan his dues. He's actually stuck to his guns with this one. He wants the top money. He's kind of getting the top money. It's how it's paid now. I mean, even Rice apparently turned and said he don't mind being sold on as long as it's the right money. And I think both parties seem happy. It's now down to the Arsenal Chiefs and obviously West Ham finance and deals. But I think we're probably going to see a light at the end of the tunnel this week. It seems pretty certain that that's going to be the case, and you're going to get a good player. Good luck to you. I hope he does well for you, and that we are going to miss him. There's no two ways about it. But for me, if a player wants to move on, then it's no use keeping him there because he's just not going to give you the very best. I think that with Xhaka, I think, if you remember rightly. So once team talk, I'm worried the deal was going to collapse. There is talks of that one, yeah. It's definitely one of those. It could go that way. Hopefully not, because I think if that's the case, then it puts Rice in a difficult situation because at the end of the day, if he's coming back to us, he's obviously then got to face the music. And that's also, if you look at it for any club he's going to go to in that, So hopefully it'll be done. If it does fall through, I think Arsenal fans are going to be in revolt. Basically, it's one of those. There's all this talk, big money being spent on this player, and just like last season, it falls at the last hurdle. And it's going to be, it's going to be very bad if it does go that way. That kind of thing. Arsenal forever. Smash the likes up, people. Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate that. James, I'm not sure. I must have spoken about how the club is being run. Alan Stubbs suffered the same thing. And this is the thing, isn't it? It goes back to what we said earlier when, Streambok likes getting yourself involved. Freedom of speech, we're all entitled to it. And obviously, when you play, don't get me wrong, when it's your own club, you've got to be very careful what you say. But at the same point, you don't like seeing things happen. And you look at Everton with Mashiri and that. I don't know what's going on there, James. It seems like he's trying to get another investor in to help support you guys moving forward. But I don't know, it's a bit of a mess at your club at the moment. If you might agree with me, you might not. One thing I think it's disgusting. The service that Bob gave Everton was incredible. Yeah, that word loyalty. It's a taboo subject these days. Loyalty is not a word that gets thrown around like it used to. it seemed to be a taboo word more in this modern day age. It's all about, if you can get the best price net and sod what everything else that goes with it, kind of thing, and loyalty and service just doesn't come to the equation. The guy's an Everton legend, in my opinion, and rightly so. James Dunlop saying, well, they treat us fans and those who fought for the club like shite. Well, as we know, James, that's with most of the clubs, etc. You think, you pay the good money, etc. I think we had I saw a stream a couple of days ago. It was a talk about that as well. You think the big money that these players get paid, and they come walking off that bus with a face like a slapped arse, basically. When you're getting paid, even with £50,000 a week, up to, as we was talking about, Havertz possibly with 331, and you come walking off that bus, like a face like a slapped arse. I mean, my neighbour across the way here, he's an Arsenal fan. He said if he was paid that wages, he'll be doing cartwheel stark bollock naked with that kind of money. And why not? At the end of the day, the fans are paying good money. But are the owners really interested in that? Obviously, we know it's all about commercial these days, and obviously with Arsenal, it's all about the merch, as we have heard this conversation before. Arsenal forever. Here in Arsenal want to pay the payment structure in 4 years. Someone wants it paid between 12 or 18 months. Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, I think the first one was roughly 5 to 6 years, and Sullivan was definitely not going to have that. I mean, at the end of the day, and that, who's getting the deal, the better deal there? West Ham with the money or Arsenal with the player? And for me, it's going to be Arsenal who get the better deal. So yeah, like I said earlier on, I give Sullivan his dues. He's actually stuck with this one. He's not kind of budging. At the end of the day, and that's the offer on the table. When you think about it, the deal originally was £100 million plus a player, or £120 million cash. So when you think you're kind of getting him for 105, maybe 115 with other bits and pieces going on, you're still getting a good deal. It's just the fact of Arsenal just want to pay over the deal. And this is what clubs are doing these days. When you look at 8-year deals and 5-year deals, it's just their way of making money and paying for the player at the same time. When obviously it's all about the business. We understand that. But when you're spouting that type of money, you've got to pay the big lump first of all. And then everything else will fall into place. But if you're kind of trying to say that we're only going to do this and we're going to offer you this over this set period of time, you can understand why Sullivan's saying, no, I'm not having that. 12 to 24 months, even 18 as you put on there, Arsenal forever, then yeah, fine, we can release him and that. But at this moment, no, until you get that bit sorted out, no pen to paper at this stage. When you look at other channels putting it's a done deal. Yeah, it's done in the principle. You've agreed the fee, but it's the final hurdle, getting that part over. You don't get that part right, then yeah, you're not going to get the player. So that's where we've got to be careful for both clubs. It will be a bit of an embarrassment from both sides if we're not too careful. Once teams want Edu in the stocks in the centre circle at the Emirates Stadium, you can't make up your pitch for him. Of course, surely. If you're going to put him somewhere else, in a place where everyone walks through. Not all fans get the chance to see it go to the centre circle. Think positively, mate. Get him in the right areas where you can definitely get him, not in this place where you can't. State 22, Arsenal stop stadium tours for the next 2 days, believed to be rising in value. Yes, I've heard this. It could be the case. Is that being premature? It could be. We'll see. Like I said, it seems like the talks are going in the right direction. It seems that it's just a formality now. So maybe in the next day or so, it could be that. Other than that, we'll see. But it'll be interesting why they've actually gone to stop the stadium tours. Maybe something could have happened we don't know about. You never know. Once team talk, just curious, Tony, do you go to non-league football? Yeah, when I get the chance to, I get to watch some of the games. I mean, we've got our local team here, Harlow, and there's also you've got Bishop Stortford, and we've also got Ware, we've got Hertford. There's a few teams around here and there, and obviously I'm involved in Sunday football as well. So I'm definitely doing my part. I enjoy my football, so I'll get to go as much as I can, basically. So yeah. What about yourself, Warren? I know obviously you do a lot of your non-league football, etc. And it's interesting what is your local non-league team around where you are. And you've just answered that, actually saying that I've just seen.
I used to go to watch Tunbridge Angels a lot, and it was a madhouse. Yeah, I know of Tunbridge Angels, etc. You know, I know they was pretty bad in that. I mean, the one that was local near to us, which was a bit of a madhouse, was Wildstone. Wow, never forget that. Our keeper and that. He was only a youngster, and that must have been petrified. 200 fans behind him, calling all the names under the sun. Yeah, we lost the game, obviously. I think it was just a case of he was actually cacking it, just in case anything happened to him and that. And you know, so yeah, it's a bit of a mad one. James, forgot to ask, you happy with the opening fixtures for your teams? Yeah, it's not bad in that. I mean, sorry, let's have a quick look at my. So we've got Bournemouth for the opening game. Then we've got an easy game away at home to Chelsea. And then we've got our bogey team, Brighton. So that's not going to be an easy one. We never kind of get much joy out of Brighton. And then on the 2nd of September, we then have Luton. So that would be an interesting game to see in that. You know, it's a good return for Luton. I mean, was it there 10 odd years since they got pushed down into non-league. And that's a great story when you think about it. You know, to get themselves where they are for that period of time, it's good to see. I mean, when you look at it, you know, rightly or wrongly, they got penalised, they got punished, they got pushed down, but they've stuck to their laws. They've kind of worked hard to get where they are, and you know, yeah, the playoffs were, it was kind of end to end, wasn't it? It was good to see it, really. So yeah, and. Yeah, both teams kind of got what they needed at the end of the day, so it should be interesting. But obviously, one thing Luton's got to do with their home ground, they've got to spend, I think it's first of all about £10 million just to kind of get it up to a certain standard. Then it's an ongoing, I think it's 25-30 million to get the rest to be up to scratch. Otherwise, at the moment, I think the first 3 or 4 games they've got to play away because obviously the ground's just not up to scratch at the moment. So to get 600 to 700 for home games, and they're a real ferocious bunch. Yeah, there's certain teams you obviously knew you didn't like going to. There's certain teams you knew you can get something out of them, etc. But I think if you look at it, it's good to see that type of football one, don't you? I mean, it's a bit of a breath of fresh air actually seeing how football used to be played. You know, getting stuck in, etc. Even though things are a lot more different these days than what they used to be. Some of the clubs I've gone to over the years, wow, yeah, just wow kind of thing. So, James, what about yourself? What kind of players would you like to see to come at Everton? Do you think is there any much business going on there? I'm not seeing much, you know, on the transfer news at the moment with Everton. So it's interesting what's going to be going on there. So let us know if Dyche has been given any money for one. And what players are you thinking of getting in? So yeah, so this should be interesting. Jaminho, big up Jaminho. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Evening, man. How you doing? Can't stay long, but I've hit a like. Much appreciated, Jaminho. Good seeing you. Yeah, I'm doing well, mate. I hope you are as well. You know, it's good to see you on. You know, coming on. It's great chatting you as always in other channels, etc. So yeah, I mean, how do you feel about the business you've done so far? Is it worthwhile? Do you think it's the right type of players that's going to move your club forward? Just let us know, mate. It'd be interesting to see your opinion on that. James Dunlop, we need at least 2 strikers. Calvert-Lewin still out injured. Wow. That one is definitely a cut your losses and run job, isn't it, really, James? You know, when he's injury-free, he can be a presence, but you can't rely on that, can you? That's for sure. That should be interesting. Warren's team talk. Hi, Jaminho. Hope you're okay. Good. Yeah, it's good to see we're all chatting to each other. James Dunlop, but most of all, we need hungry players who want to fight and play for the club, not just pick up the wages to do nothing. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the problem. Got to make sure that we, you know, you do things correctly. Like us, we've got to make sure that what we're bringing in is the right type of player. We can't just buy players, which we have done over the last couple of years, like Arsenal have done, like most clubs have done, and we're not seeing anything out of it. Jaminho, I'm good one yourself. Lavia set to snub Arsenal. That's interesting. Arsenal forever. Is it Man United? Is it going to be Newcastle? Where are we going to be going? That should be interesting. Germinio Havertz's mayor. Timber, I've heard, is decent. I'm not even going to acknowledge that snake we're about to sign. Well, you might get your wishes, Germinio. It might not be done. I mean, the way things are going at the moment, even though they're progressing, there's also that talks that it could hit a wall. If that's the case, then no doubt you'll be celebrating for forever and a day if that happens. But yeah, we shall see. It'll be interesting what's going to happen on that one. I want to say my holding on, mate. Warren, I hope you're okay, mate. If you are, don't forget, you can always talk to me. I'm always here for you, mate. Don't forget that. If you need to be, message me privately and that. Let's have a little discussion. Make sure you're okay, mate. Because obviously, you're a legend in my eyes. Keep it up, mate. I always enjoy what you do. James, we never replaced with Richarlison last summer. Would you want him back, James? He's not exactly kind of done it at Spurs. He's still that little kind of kid sulking and not getting what he wants. I mean, we saw that when he got subbed off one game. But would you want him back at Everton? And I think if you look at it, that wouldn't be a bad shout for you guys to take him back on. Germinio, I've heard Lavia might be going to Liverpool. That'd be an interesting one. Yeah, because obviously Klopp is rebuilding. Obviously, they've just got that Sposnenberg, how you want to pronounce it. They've just got him. And I think they're also looking to add someone in the defence as well. So that should be, that should be an interesting one. James Dunn. Chris Sutton made a crazy statement saying we should get Lukaku back. He must have been on the sherry. Well, I don't think he even wants to come back to Chelsea. So I don't think you've got much chance of getting on with him. Basically, Luke Chapman, welcome to the chat. Welcome coming on there. Club news. Follow Kieran Bowen returning to Northampton Town. His thoughts on the young striker. Big up, Luke Chapman. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming on. Germinio. When I heard the first and second rice bids were rejected, I celebrated more than the Nelson goal against Bournemouth. I think it was just only a matter of time. I mean, if City was, I go on to that one. I mean, give City their dues. They've got a transfer policy, and the good thing they did, they actually stuck by it. They didn't bother, they didn't kind of come in with another offer. But we knew they all could have done that. But they've gone for that stage where they were like, with the Mourinho's and Chelsea's when they first come in, spending big, getting big players in, etc. But where does it get you? It doesn't always get you success. So I give City their dues. They decided, there it is, 90 million, not a penny more, not a penny less. And obviously, the rest was history. Now, obviously, looks like he's going to be a gunner. Sorry to say it, Germinio, but it looks like it's going to be that way. James Dunlop, yes, on Richarlison, 100%, but why would he return? Well, I think the only reason why he would return, if you look at it, Dyche is probably going to get a full season. He's also hopefully going to get money to buy additions to the squad. And look at Richarlison. He's not exactly going to get, or he may not get much game time. Postecoglou might not like the player. And, he's really going to go down the pecking order. If he's got someone else lined up. So, yeah, I think it will be a cheeky little tap up here and there and that through the transfer window. Inquire, ask, sow the seed. You never know. It could be a done deal. And look what he did for you guys. So, having him coming back, it might be a good thing. Warren's team sort of feel the same at Germinio. And obviously he agrees to Warren's statement there. Germinio, what would you rate your transfer window so far? Give us 4 out of 10 and minus 10,000 every side rise. As you can see, guys, Germinio is a great advocate of Declan Rice. So he can't wait to see him. He's going to be the first one on that fence line to get his signature. We know he's going to do that. So it should be interesting. James Dunlop, Sean Dyche, I fully back the man, mainly because we need stability. That's what you get. It says what it says on the tin, James, doesn't he? He gets the job done. If it wasn't going to be him, may I say, you would have had old Sam Allardyce trying to keep you up, etc. So, but Sean Dyche, he did his part. So yeah, it was exciting times. I mean, that game, wow. Leicester thought it was done and dusted, but what a goal! And the rest was history, as we say. And we are where we are. But yeah, Dyche, I think he's the right man for you. He gives you that stability in that. In certain respects, he kind of plays the Everton way. Don't take that the wrong way. But I think, yeah, if he gets it, he should be all right. I think he'll do all right. As long as he gets backed. That's the key thing. As long as he gets the backing. If you don't get that, then again, it's going to be a hard season for Everton. There's no two ways about it. So, I mean, if I get his signature, I'd shred it. Love it. Absolutely love it. So, yeah, no, it should be interesting, what's going on in the next couple of days. Well, the interesting front, when we look at, we were just talking earlier on when we first came in, Steven Gerrard, first of all, he wasn't going to sign for the club. He wasn't interested in the deal. Then suddenly changed his mind, and now he's the manager of Saudi Al-Hilal. If that's how you pronounce it. He's now their manager. So obviously, must be that money talks, and he's off his way there. So yeah, we shall see. Stage 22, got to go, Tony, buddy. But thanks a lot. Enjoyed your opinions. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for coming on. Much appreciated. And hopefully I'll catch up with you again. Not even if it's not on this channel. Don't forget, on Wednesday, I've got Old School coming on as a guest with me at 7:30 on Wednesday evening. So if you can, make yourself there. So with you guys, if you've got the opportunity to come along, come and jump into the channel on Wednesday. It's an interesting talk with Old School Gunner. He let me come onto his stream the other day. We had an interesting talk. It was quite good. Good crack. A lot of people was on board. It was a good time. So hopefully we'll look to repeat that on Wednesday. But States, thanks for coming in, mate. Much appreciated. Take care of yourself. Catch up with you soon. So it's interesting on the management movement kind of thing. Like I said, it depends with us. Are we going to keep hold of Moyes? It could be the fact that he's going to maybe have a short tenure with us if he doesn't get things going. So no, it should be an interesting thing in that. But no, other than that, mate, I was going to say it's coming up to just over an hour and nearly 10 minutes. So we shall see in that. Let's see what Luke Chapman's got to say here. Northampton Town, number 7, Sam Hoskins, contract expires June the 30th, 2024. Okay, so where do you think he's going to go then, Luke? Let's know that part. Just seeing if there's any other kind of movements been going on while we've been talking. Let's have a quick look. So I'm out with his medical. Yeah, so I heard about Jadon Sancho possibly going on loan, but I don't think Man U are keen on the idea of him moving on. We shall see. That should be an interesting one. Yeah, bear with me, guys. What's going on here? And I saw this as well. Obviously, Daniel Levy has definitely said no to it, but it seems that Bayern Munich was going to go with another bid for Harry Kane. If he doesn't move on, then surely that just shows you that he has got no intention of, or ambition. He'd more rather kind of set records than actually kind of walk away with a champion medal. At least you can say that Alan Shearer, that still is basically holding the record at the moment, walked away with the Premier League under his belt. But Kane to do that, yeah, that's going to be interesting. But obviously, ideally, I don't know if the player would like to stay in England, but to stay at Spurs. He didn't join City when he had the opportunity to, and that obviously Levy kind of tempted away with big money, and obviously that's what kept him on, etc. But I don't know what's going to go on with this one. It'd be interesting. James, if I was talking about move on from Kane, it's time to look into the long term. Yeah, but it's Levy though, isn't it, James? You know what he's like. He's like a bloody Olympic. He don't like letting go of something, and he'd rather see the player long out the rest of the season and then go on a free, which that's just mad. At the end of the day, in that, if you're going to make money on a player, make money on the player, especially someone like of Kane's caliber. He's England captain, he's the top goal scorer. He's got all these records behind him, but no, you'd rather see him walk away on a free in that. Is that kind of petulance? Possibly could be. Is it even kind of showing his authority that he's the boss and he's not going to let anything go for no reason whatsoever? It's like when you look at it, Maitland-Niles at Arsenal. They let him go for a free when they could have sold him for 20-21 million the season before. But teams are willing to throw away money like that it doesn't make sense. If you're going to make money on a player where you got the chance to, then do that. I mean, obviously, like, hence us with Rice going back onto that. That's definitely 2 years. We could say the players left, and we've made sure we've getting our money out of him. Rightly or wrongly, when you look at it. So yeah, sure, it should be interesting. I mean, if you look at say them signing James Maddison, and I suppose part of the deal was moving on Harry Winks to Leicester for £10 million. Good money for Leicester, so they're not exactly paying out big. Winks weren't getting much of a look in at Spurs, so it's probably a good thing to kind of kickstart his career again. So, it'd be interesting on that one. So we'll also see. What else is going on? What's going on? Much going on. Oh, yes, obviously it's Pochettino's first day at the office at Chelsea. So it should be interesting to see what he thinks of that. Is he walking into a minefield? When you think over the years, player power has been a big thing at Chelsea in my eyes. They've got rid of a lot of players over the years. Managers over the years. But no, it should be interesting. All right. So it's nearly come to an end of that. I will be doing another one of these at some point, maybe the end of the week or the week after. And obviously, like I said, Wednesday I've got that chat. I've got my guest star is going to be Old School Gunner from his channel. So we're going to do a collaboration on Wednesday. So if you can, guys, that's going to be 7:30 Wednesday. As I mentioned, I'm going to try and do some other content on there. I will be ending it now. So thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys as always. James, nice to see you on there, and even Warren, great man. Always get on well with each other. So hopefully Warren, when you feel free, let's do a collaboration as well, mate. Let's get on each other's channels. I see you've got the Southern Gooner, and obviously you've got Carl Walsh coming on as well. Two great guys coming on your channel. I mean, the Carl Walsh one, wow, that's going to be some fireworks on that kind of thing. Make sure you got the expletive box going, because that's going to be going into overdrive. Jane, cheers, Tony. Take care, mate. You as well, James. Pleasure talking as always. Hope to catch you out another time in that. So basically, guys, thank you much again. Don't forget, while you got the chance to put the notification bell on that, so you can obviously pick up any content I'm doing, and more importantly, hit the like button, share and subscribe. So from me to yous, good night, and I'll catch you again another time. Oh, one more chat before I was going to say the Arsenal forever. Harry Kane wants to stay in the Premier League and try to break Alan Shearer's all-time Premier League goals. Arsenal, I'll make you 100% right on that. It seems to be his destiny. If he's going to, I think he'll do that, and then he'll probably be, he'll probably retire. But we'll see. I don't think he'll want to move on. I think he wants to stay in the Premier League. If it's going to be with Spurs, so be it. I mean, I know I'd rather be known for scoring goals and winning trophies, but he's happy and content just to make records and that. So, but again, thanks for your time. Ask forever. Thanks for coming on. See you next time. Appreciate your comments. And guys, take care for now, and I'll catch you again. Bye-bye for now.